not yell.
There it is. Yay!
Okay, let me make some changes here. Thanks, Jamie. No more Lincoln quote.
No more Lincoln.
No Washington quote. I would never have a Reagan quote. Okay, senior night. It's traditionally been a time of reflection for you to think back over the last 18 years. It's also a time for your parents to remember their own childhood and their own graduation. It's time to contemplate the past and to be inspired by the future. So tonight, let's talk about memories. Let's talk about the record of events that make up your lives. Let's talk about what makes things memorable. Let's talk about the artifacts that you've collected that make up your story. Let's talk about history. Let's talk about beliefs. Let's talk about maxims. Each person in this audience has a record. Well, not the one where you get your fingerprints taken. Nice headshot for posterity. But a story. The story of who you are, where you've lived, and who you've lived with. In other words, you have a history. Each one of us has a foundation of beliefs. Sometimes they involve faith, sometimes hope, but a whole lot of time it's a crazy combination of experience and folkways. And each of you has a maxim, a creed, a motto, a saying, not an inspirational poster or a popular t-shirt slogan, but a core belief that you use as direction. Your friends and family help influence it, but you ultimately get to determine what it is. We use these mottos for inspiration. We use them to solve problems. We use them to face the monotony. We use them to help answer the questions about the meaning of our lives. We use them to express to others what we stand for. Where would we be if the Founding Fathers hadn't uttered those words, no taxation without representation? Or the Pilgrims, Fishburne and Flumber?
What?
I think the best way to explain this is to explain my own motto, the Glasser motto. And it's pretty simple. A glass of water, a job, and a good story. In its simplistic form, it's literal, but it is also a complex metaphor. The combination of these three can solve almost any problem. Think about the problems that you just faced. How do I gain independence from my parents? How am I going to get a car? You know, that fancy automobile you want? How are you going to pay for college? The answer? A job. A better job. Maybe even 2 jobs. How about the problems you'll soon face? You gain the freshman 15. You can't get up and go to class or to work. Should I go to that party or should I stay home and study? Think about it. A glass of water is the answer. You put on that extra 15 pounds, it's time to choose water. Drink a lot of water right before bed, you'll have no problem getting up. Party or study, stay home and hydrate your minds as well as your body. A glass of water, there are wonderful properties in that. Like all children, my children skinned their knees and have been hit by flying projectiles and suffered the normal wear and tear of childhood. And it is through this great elixir we call water, I have soothed their bumps and their bruises. For you see, small children can't drink water and cry at the same time. Magically, the water can't flow both ways. Tears stop at the hydration station. My wife likes the soothing properties of Band-Aids and hugs. I prefer a simple glass of water. It's these beliefs and experience that code in our memories and become our stories. We all have childhood full of memories. We tell and retell these memories until they become our story. They become who we are as a person. It's all the details we collect, the artifacts of our lives, put together and spun into an entertaining symphony, or even a thunderous cacophony. It's photo albums chock full of fantastic bangs and glorious bowl cuts, fashion disasters and dressed to the nines, thrilling victories and agonizing defeats. But it's both good and bad. Studying long hours on tests, or maybe getting caught cheating on, say, an Africa quiz. It's making your parents so incredibly proud, and also disappointing them when you say, get caught on an Africa quiz. It's long car rides and bus trips and air travel, sing-alongs to pop songs. It's your first job. It's your first kiss. It's getting together. It's breaking up. It's the story of you. So take a moment to ask yourself this question. What artifacts have I collected? What motto do I believe in? When I think back about this for myself, I always go back to my childhood. So what significance does water work and epic stories have for me? Let me tell you. I'm the second oldest of 11 children. I'm a child of the 1970s and a teenager of the 1980s. Yet it seems my family liked to live, maybe say, in the 1870s. In 1974, my family moved to a small house on the east side of Longmont. I am a Columbine and a Rocky Mountains graduate. And it is in this house that I spent my formative years. Now, I could go on for about an hour about the house alone. But I'll tell you one quick story. The furnace never worked in the house, ever. So my parents decided, let's buy a wood-burning stove. They didn't have enough money to replace the furnace, so a wood-burning stove would work. And I spent the next decade of my life as a woodcutter and a coal miner. Where you see in the 1970s, enslaving your children to hard labor was commonplace. My older brother and I spent countless weeks in the mountains, cutting, hauling, chopping, and stacking wood. When we weren't working, we chose to escape the boundaries of our indentured servitude and explore an abandoned canning factory a couple of blocks from our house. An old factory, freedom to explore, and wrist rocket slingshots. Couldn't have asked for anything better. There was one rule from my parents: don't go inside it. Now that I think about it, really, don't go inside? So we immediately went inside. And it was awesome. It was a wonderment of old conveyor belts and machinery and dirt and grease. It was heaven for a 7- and 9-year-old boy. We spent countless hours recreating battles, quests, forts, exploring every inch of the factory. And then it happened. I fell through the floor into the coal chute. Looking back, I wasn't concerned about getting stuck in a black hole. We had flashlights. Always prepared. I got scared because my clothing was now covered in black soot, and I knew my dad would ask questions. We'd be in trouble. Anyway, my brother helped me out, and we stealthily snuck home. Or so we thought. We found a spot in the backyard where we tried the cleansing properties of the garden hose. Where you see a garden hose in the 1970s was the spigot of life. They provided everything from a cool drink to an afternoon of entertainment. They were even good at magically hiding the evidence. Right as the cold water and the coal dust turns into a gooey tar-like substance, my dad comes around the corner with that soul-crushing stare. I knew there was no way out, so I fessed up. We'd been down at the cannery, and I'd fallen through the floor into the coal chute. And he stared, and he stared. And then he asked, "Is there a lot of coal down there?" And I said, "What do you mean, is there a lot of coal?" "Well, how much coal is still down there?" "I don't know, I'm 7. It's a big pile of coal, and it's dark." "Well, here is what I want you to do. and he gave me a 5-gallon bucket, and he told me to pull my little red wagon down to the factory and bring back the bucket of coal. And thus began my foray into coal mining. I spent weeks hauling 5 gallons of coal in my wagon up the hill and into our backyard where we made a giant pile.
Oh my gosh.
Now the best part of the story is that my dad didn't know how to use coal. You don't burn it like you burn wood. And so he loaded up the stove full of coal.
Oh no.
And it turned bright red for 3 days. And we had to open the windows in the house. I spent the next 5 or 6 years working for my dad until I came to the realization that if I got a job somewhere else, they actually paid. And really think about this. The only way to stop working was to get a job and start working. And I've had a lot of jobs. And I've worked at a lot of places. And I've worked lots of hours. 20 years here at Skyline High School. And I've always believed in the power of employment. So go get a job. A glass of water, a job, and a good story. Over the next couple of days, I challenge you to sit down and to think. Think about your history. Think about what you believe in. And think about what your motto is. You will soon end the first act of your life, the formative years of childhood and adolescence. You will begin the independence of adulthood. So as this chapter closes and the new one begins, I hope you will always have a glass of water. I hope you will always find a good job. And I hope the word epic describes the story of your life.